Hey guys, welcome back to whatever this is, and on today's episode, I decided let's do an episode on 5 games that I like that nobody else seems to like. So for this episode, let's start with one I've already kind of talked about that I find that nobody really likes. And it's going to be an early episode one. Fire Emblem Echoes, Shadows of Valentia. This is a really good Fire Emblem game, kind of a dated one, as I find the mechanics are very, very old, very early 90s strategy mechanics that you would use, that nowadays don't tend to make a lot of sense, but are really cool that in the remake they just left it there. And I actually find that a much more refreshing experience, as it's style of play you don't see anymore, and I think that's what's made me like it. That and this is the first Fire Emblem game where the whole game was voiced over, and it made the game 1,000% more enjoyable. If you haven't tried it and you're a Fire Emblem fan, check it out. Strong recommendation. Alright, for my next one, I definitely see why people hate this game, and I just really enjoy it for what it is. Kingdom Hearts Recoded. Not only is this a spin-off game, this is a remake of a mobile game. It's kind of hilarious, it's a little goofy, but my time spent with it was really enjoyable ride. It was a retread. Again, the Kingdom Hearts franchise isn't notoriously bad for this, but this game was a lot of fun, especially its combat actually was kind of the start of what became the Birth by Sleep fighting engine. As a lot of the ideas started here, ended up in that game. And it was a really good system, and yeah, they kept using it. That's why. And the combat's good. Story-wise, there's nothing new here. It adds, like, one thing right at the end, because, you know, of course Kingdom Hearts puts it right at the end, and everything else was pointless. But it's a fun, enjoyable game. I have played this on occasion when, you know, the mood strikes, and playing a DS Kingdom Hearts game was kind of weird and fun. As, yeah, that's it. And this is one of those games where I actually had to track down an American copy, not the Canadian copy, because for whatever reason, the American copy was shiny. I needed it because it was shiny. I like this box a lot. Now, this one, I will easily say I have a lot of nostalgia for it. I, again, have mentioned this one on the channel before, and that is Resident Evil Code Veronica. I find, or at least I found for the longest time, that a lot of people poo-pawed this one, as this was the true Resident Evil 3, and I like this one a whole lot. I like the characters. Yeah, I kind of like Steve. Yes, he's an annoying bag of whatever he is. He's not that great, but I still enjoy him and his inclusion in the story, aside from some creepy moments at points in the story. But that being said, Resident Evil Code Veronica, one of my favorites. The last real old-school Resident Evil game. Originally came out on the Dreamcast, got a port to the PS2, ended up on the GameCube. This is the best version of the game, is the GameCube version, as the HD version has. But if you need to play it, it's your best option, go for it. If you can, avoid the PS2 copy, play Dreamcast or GameCube if possible. This game's story is all over the place. I remember spending so much time playing it when I was younger, and I truly enjoyed my time with it. So guys, this is another game I find that not a lot of people like, but I really enjoy. And now for my last one, the shirt's kind of a giveaway for games that I like that nobody else seems to, but kind of not the Batman game you might be thinking of. Or maybe you are, I don't know, I'm not psychic. We'll find out in a second. But Batman Arkham Origins. I really like this game. First of all, it's a Christmas game, which is pretty rare. Second of all, it's just a solid Batman game. It didn't do anything like crazy to push Arkham forward. It just took what was already there and made an excellent game. The combat's still nice and crisp. The story's really neat. I actually like the idea that it's the beginning of Batman, so like nobody's quite sure he exists. They're aware he exists, kind of, but they're not really sure who he is, and they hired a bunch of assassins to track him down and take him out. And that was the entire premise of the story. So, like, you already had your bosses set up, and the one thing this game did better than any of the other Batman games is it gave you true boss fights. which hasn't happened in a long time. Like, I remember playing this and being like, no, you have to wait, you have to be patient. You have to plan things out. This Batman game wasn't afraid to make you stop and think for a few minutes, which I really liked, and I understand why that broke some people from the game, because the other games were just like boom, 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 move on. This one was, no, okay, we're going to investigate the crime scene. How did this happen? Where was the bullet fired from? Or how the explosion happened? And that was a portion of the game, which I really enjoyed, but I understood a lot of people didn't like it, and I kind of got it. It's unfortunate. This was a really good version of Batman, and I would say check it out if you can. If possible, the Xbox is the way to go, then the PlayStation version, and then unfortunately the Wii U version comes up last. As much as I did enjoy the Wii U, I did play this many, many moons ago. I don't know how, because the frame rate really bugs me nowadays. It's really inconsistent on the Wii U, and that's its biggest problem. They couldn't get that frame rate to stay steady on any version, really, but the Xbox was the best out of the batch. So if you can, check it out. Oh, one note, if you can, PC, play it on PC. It'll just run amazing. Or, you know, Xbox One or Xbox Series. Check it out, Batman Arkham Origins. Now, for my last game. Out of all of these games, I wouldn't really put them in any particular order. These are just 4 games that I really like, that I find once in a while. I find somebody who also likes it, but not too many. Now, when it comes to this game, I find a lot more people hate it, and I feel like that's starting to change a little bit. People are kind of warming up to what this game was, and I've always liked it since it came out, and I would always get so much garbage for saying that this was the best Spider-Man game. Ultimate Spider-Man is hands down the best Spider-Man game of this generation. Spider-Man 2 is good. It's a great game. I think this one does it better. Bold opinion. I know. If you haven't played this game, it is completely based off of the Ultimate Universe that had started around the time of this game's release. It's incredibly fun. The swing mechanics is just as good. I understand they tweaked it, but I think from a gameplay standpoint, it made the game more enjoyable. I know some people like that swing mechanic of Spider-Man 2. That's fine. That's great. I like this one better. Fair? Fair. But the story in this one's a lot more enjoyable. Yeah, it's goofy, it's a lot more comic booky, but they were literally just ripping pages out of the comic book and making it into the game. And they rebuilt New York, and the cell shading has made this game hold up so well. Oh my gosh, does this game hold up so much better today because of the art style they went with. They weren't trying to go realistic, they went cartoony, and honestly, that was for the better. This is one game, if they did an HD update day one, I would purchase it. Not a problem. And it's your typical Spider-Man game, especially from the PS2, Xbox, GameCube era. This is my favorite Spider-Man game, and this is a game I found for years I would get garbage. I'd post on Facebook, hey, just picked up the best Spider-Man game. Oh, popping in the best Spider-Man game, and I get a bunch of people go, oh, it's Spider-Man 2. You know, Spider-Man 2 is better. I'm like, nah, this game was better. Much, much better. So anyways, guys, that's it for this week's episode. I just thought this would be a fun little episode to make, as I tend to like a lot of kind of weird games in a franchise, and I tend to really have to defend my arguments sometimes on why I chose this game. So I'll probably be doing a lot more of that. Please, if you have another game that you think that, like, you know, you tend to get a lot of crap for liking, comment down below. Hey, maybe give the video a like, and if you do like what you're seeing here, and you like my face, give me a subscribe down below. That'd be fantastic. And anyways, guys, that's it for this week's episode. Take care. Have a good one.